I think what all she's mentioned in the book regarding how life changes after you put your life in order, I started seeing that in my personal life as well and in my professional life. A lot of my husband's projects that were stuck, they started opening up. He got big orders. Anything that makes you happy genuinely from within should be kept. When I pick up something now, I ask myself very simply that does it spark joy, Gayatri? And I think the answer comes from within. At Joy Factory, we have developed a formula called C2S2. And when I met Marie Kondo, I took my wedding lehenga with me. I said that, all this is great for your Western stuff. What do we do about our Indian wear?
Hi guys, and we're very excited because Gayatri is one of the first and only KonMari certified experts in the country. So I'm very excited to do this live with her. Hey, I was just introducing you. I hope you heard all of that.
Yes, I did. Thank you so much for a lovely introduction, Mansi. Thank you.
I am so excited to chat with you because you're literally like, from the petite Marie Kondo that we know, you feel like the magician who's going to make Indian homes look just as picture perfect, right? I'm quite excited to know about that. So
Yes,
tell me, Gayatri, how did your journey with decluttering begin? I'm most curious to understand that and how you got on to being India's only and first KonMari certified expert.
Actually, I'm a media professional, ex-media professional. I worked for Discovery Channel for 10 years. So I had a regular good job and I was doing like everybody else, the corporate job. And this was in 2014 that I took a sabbatical from work. And that's when I came across this book by Marie Kondo, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. And I was very fascinated. I said, wow, I was really excited when I came across that book. And it made just so much sense. And of course, I also took interest in that book because I have a natural inclination towards being organized because that's how I am as a person, which is why I picked up that book to read. And the more I read it, the more it made so much sense. And I think the whole idea of what sparks joy was so positive and so profound. It just made me feel so good about it. And I remember I read up about that book and I came home, watched her online, videos, everything. And I started applying the method. And for a moment, my husband was like, she's gone mad. What's wrong with you? What are you doing? I said, no. I said, this is something new that I have learned today. I have to apply this in my life.
I want to know, I'm going to pause you there. Who else is guilty of doing this? Like, it happened to me. Like, I read the book, but to me, it happened when I watched the show and my kids as well.
So I think that's how it started. And I think what all she's mentioned in the book regarding how life changes after you put your life in order, I started seeing that in my personal life as well and in my professional life. In fact, a lot of my husband's projects that were stuck, they started opening up. He got big orders only after I had decluttered his one little shelf or a drawer. So, I got validation from the point from him as well. And of course, it made a lot of sense that what she's written in the book, that life changes, a lot of, these things that are stuck in your, life, they start opening up. So the more I saw that, the more I felt that it works. It really works. And why shouldn't I do something like this? So obviously at that point in time, no one was doing it in India. So of course, when I thought of doing this, my family, my parents,
this was when? 2017, 2018?
So 2015, actually.
2015. I know 2014 you read the book. And soon after 2015, you started applying for the course. Amazing.
Yes. So that's when I started reading out about it. And the more I researched about Marie Kondo and the method, it just was very positive because, everything I started asking myself, does it spark joy? Yes, I keep it. If it doesn't, I, thank it and discard it. So suddenly I felt life was becoming a little simpler than, I had thought it to be. And so that's when I started researching more and more about it. I just had a very natural traction towards it. And I think it just was so positive in its method that I felt that I should bring it to India. And of course, like I was mentioning earlier, that my parents and my family, friends were like, are you sure you want to do this? What's wrong with you? Like, what kind of job is this? Are you going to be a cleaner or a housekeeper? So, but I think it was, I was so clear about it, so convinced. And the more I applied it, it just made sense. And that's when I reached out to the Marie Kondo's, team. And they had that time only started their courses. So I was the
Amazing.
third batch of theirs. And I thought to bring it to India, it's important to have credibility, honestly speaking, because if I don't have credibility and don't have a valid stamp of being a professional certified organizer, I thought no one in India will take me seriously, because I know that Indians work like that.
एंड बीच में कभी डाउट नहीं आया दैट लिसन आई शुड गो बैक टू ये साइड में हो सकता है मेन स्ट्रीम जॉब नहीं हो सकता है कभी भी डाउट आया था ऐसे
Honestly, no. Because I think because I had seen the changes in my life so, vividly and so drastically, I was very convinced that this works. It's not
Okay.
something that she is just preaching just out of, just writing a book. So because I had seen it in my own life and things moved, I was pretty clear and convinced that this is going to, work out. And of course, at that time, before I launched my company Joy Factory, I did a research as well. I did a research with a few of my friends, extended family, and friends, with about 200 respondents.
Wow.
And in that, most of them, almost 80% of them, agreed that they would like to have a professional organizer coming to their homes to help them organize. I think that just
Absolutely.
validated it, and I was like, okay, let me just apply for the course. And so of course the course is not as easy that you apply it and you go for it. There are
Yeah.
number of
Honestly, before I knew of you, I
yeah.
did not even know that you could be a KonMari certified
Okay,
expert.
okay.
I must confess this. Like, I thought that she is the ultimate person and that's it, right? And I thought, okay, I didn't even know that there was that there was a like a
Course, yeah.
course or like a program that she runs.
Program.
None of it. Like, it's
Yeah.
amazing. So you've really I'm also quite like secretly I'm quite excited to
Thank you.
try it. I don't know what the commitment of it is. I don't know if I can do two full-time things, but very interesting. But tell me, Gayatri, what were the tipping points when you started decluttering? Like, why did it hit you so hard that you made it into a career?
I think one of the main thing was that I felt in our country, especially in India, so to say, I felt that people were not living in the moment, and they were just racing and competing with things just for the heck of it. And this is obviously 2 years, 3 years ago. And obviously at that time, India was not that it's not booming right now, but of course at that time it was booming, and everything was just at its peak. But I felt that there was time to slow down, and I felt that such a simple thing as tidying or decluttering could make you achieve that. And why aren't people realizing it? And also because physical decluttering has such a deep impact on your mental life and mental state, mental well-being, that I thought that people are going after a lot of other things, but not realizing that such a small and such a simple thing of tidying or decluttering could be applied into your life, and your life will change, your life will become happy. So when I started doing it, I felt that it was something that I wanted to share with others. And I felt that it's possible. You don't have to go for some, course or spiritualism or something like that. As simple as just put that glass back into that kitchen, or just put,
Yeah,
your stuff
yeah,
back into your almirah. Why aren't you doing that? Because the mess
right.
just eats up your brain, and it just lowers your productivity. So everything goes haywire. So I think that hit me very hard. And I felt that I want to bring this to our country, and I want it to change.
I mean, when you decided to do this, what was like a challenge? Like, Indian homes are so different. Like,
Yes.
I just feel I remember when I first saw the episodes and I was like, okay, it took me like 2 days to teach my house help how to fold clothes the KonMari
Yeah.
way. Then the challenge
Yes.
was it has to be in baskets. Then our clothes
Yeah.
are so different.
Right.
We get so much dust into our homes. We don't live in nuclear families. Our homes are
Yes.
not so large. Matlab,
Correct.
I know it's my excuses ka list is longer than my attempt ka list. But how different is it, Gayatri, in India where we are, where we're not putting our own stuff back and actually it's our house help or somebody else is helping us. Our kids are not used to doing it. So how do you
Absolutely.
help Indian families there?
So you're right. Actually, this was one of the biggest challenges that I did face, because the mindset of our country and our people is, like you rightly said, is very different, because they are like, आप कर उनको सिखा दो वो कर देंगे, मतलब why do I have to do it? And in fact, actually, when I work with my clients as well, a lot of time I end up working with the house helps, because
Oh,
that's how it is. But that this was a question that I asked Marie Kondo and her team as well when I
yeah,
was there in New York, because I felt that this is very different for our country. I mean, for them it's very systematic and it happens, but for us it's not like that. So even there, they said that it'll be good if you can have your client with you while working with you, but if the nature of your country is such that you have house helps, then it's important that you do teach the client, but then help the house helps also to learn, because eventually the house has to run, unfortunately, on based on
yeah.
how the house help is working. So of course that is a bit of a challenge, but I think now with, of course, last year when the Netflix series did come out, there has been a very big shift in people's minds, and now people are themselves wanting to make that shift in their own heads. So
Yeah.
which is why now they are making a conscious effort that yes, that we do want to do decluttering or organizing, and they want to now start with this journey. So it
Yeah,
has
which is
been a bit,
amazing. Like
yeah,
after going through the courses which you've designed for Kids
yeah,
Stop Press, I mean, there are 4 videos. I finished video 1 because I'm like, I'm
okay,
going to see video 1, then I'm going to complete that exercise and then move on to
yes,
the next one. Because I think if you, and you know what's great is that because it's in a video format, what I love is I
yeah,
can keep going back to
going
the
back,
principles that you're talking, right?
yeah,
The C2S2 method and all of
yes,
that, the
yes,
introduction. So I think for everybody who is with us today, if you guys want to go back to the course, I think it's a great idea. It's available on Kidstop Press.
yes,
Pakaji's very painfully but shared every piece and bit that she has into those 4 videos. And I think it's a great starting point for anybody who's into decluttering and wants to take it up during this extended lockdown while we're all
yes,
at home. Because I just
absolutely,
feel like, and I agree with you, that the minute I feel like I have a cleaner desk, I have space to think, right?
yes,
Like if there are just
yes,
too many things that are but the struggle is always, like I said, that people don't put it back, or it gets dusty and it doesn't like, I may create it, but it doesn't stay that way. So what
right.
would you say to people who are aware of the methods, who walk that half mile but are
Right.
stuck there and usse aage they're not being able to travel?
See, actually, first and foremost, we need to understand that organization and decluttering are two separate things. A lot of times we confuse organizing with decluttering. Just because one you have organized something doesn't mean that you have decluttered. Because if you organize something, you also start organizing clutter, or you organize mess. But
Yeah.
the important thing of decluttering is that you have to declutter first, which means remove the stuff that don't make you happy or is not, part of your, it's not part of your usage in a day-to-day life. And after, what remains, that should be organized. So a lot of time why the mess accumulates in our homes is also because we are just organizing mess from one room to the other, or from one shelf to the other. If we
True.
haven't taken out the stuff only, how else will you expect that things to become organized?
Yeah.
But let me, like I explained in the module also with Kids Stop Press, that it's important to first understand what clutter is. A lot of
Yeah.
time people don't even understand what clutter is.
Yeah.
Just because if things are lying in a messy way doesn't always constitute clutter. Clutter is also which is in your bed boxes, in your lofts, which you haven't used for 20 years or 10 years or 15 years, thinking that I will use it someday. Actually, that someday doesn't come. So
Yeah.
that is also constituting clutter. So you need to get rid of that as well. But I think because there is no clarity between what organizing is and what decluttering is, there that's where the problem also happens. So it's important first and foremost to always declutter first, and then go on with your organizing festival, because only then you will be able to see that you will be able to give everything a home, things will be put in a proper way, and then things can move forward.
right now we're all in a phase of abundance, right? कि
Yeah.
हमको ये भी चाहिए, अच्छा Instagram पे ये भी देख लिया, अब ये भी खरीदो. I want to get this also. Maybe I'll use this someday, somewhere, whatever. So there's a hoarding mentality, and there is never satisfaction, right? We
Right.
want to get more before we can discard what we have, or
Right.
even take a look at, like, I know so many people in this lockdown have posted, oh my God, I didn't even know I had this, right?
Yes.
Like, how do you deal with this ever evolving consumerist method?
Actually, on the contrary to what you have said, in the lockdown, a lot of like the queries that I have also got in the last, 4 months is also that because the lockdown has made you be, constrained to one physical space, and
Yeah,
the need is only just essential stuff. A lot of people are now realizing that actually I don't need so much stuff
that's so
also,
true.
because
Yeah,
you're like, I just need my basic things to wear, to eat, and that's it, and my home should be good, because I think the
yeah,
pandemic has made us realize things in a very different way. So
yeah,
yes, of course, like you rightly said, that there is a challenge like that, where you want that, I wish I had that, I wish I had that. But I think if you follow the KonMari philosophy, or what genuinely makes you happy, or what sparks joy in your life, if you start applying it, trust me, Mansi, you'll see that you will be able to take a decision on your life for various aspects in a much, much different manner. And I can say this for myself because I have seen it. And not just me, but so many of my clients, they have also come back and said that what you said about decluttering, what sparked joy, is now making so much sense, because we can see it for a fact actually that we don't need so many things. We need
yeah.
actually only things that make us happy. And
Right.
which brings me to the point that KonMari philosophy is separate from minimalism.
Yeah,
A
which is
lot,
what I want to ask you. That how does KonMari method actually make you a minimalist? Because that's
no,
what people fear.
correct, no, but it doesn't, because minimalism is all about having things that are just right, right number for you. Whereas KonMari philosophy is all those things that make you feel happy. So for some, if maybe two pairs of jeans is okay, because that's one you're wearing, one goes for laundry and the other one comes back. So two pairs are enough. But KonMari philosophy doesn't say that. She advocates that if it makes you happy, then you keep it. So it could be 20 pairs for someone, it could be 10 pairs for someone, or it could be, maybe 30 pairs for someone.
Right.
So the idea is of the KonMari philosophy that anything that makes you happy genuinely from within should be kept. Whereas in minimalism, it's all about what is just right, which is why there is a little very subtle difference. But yes, there is a difference between the KonMari philosophy and minimalism. So it's not as if somebody comes to my house and they'll say that there are no things in my house. It's not like that. There are lots of things in my house, and they are
Right.
because I like them. They make me feel happy. Whereas a minimalistic person could be that there'll be just few furniture pieces, or just a few things. So there is a difference, but if one understands the difference between the two, trust me, it's a very, very beautiful journey that goes ahead.
How did it help you in decision making? Because you mentioned that just the decluttering helped you be a better decision maker. How did that
Yes.
happen?
See, actually, like I said, if you follow the KonMari question of does it spark joy,
Yeah.
if you start applying it for little things, you will.
Like, give me an example.
See, actually, I was, someone who used to shop like a lot. Like I used to like going for any other girl, I think, used to like going for shopping extra days. But I think after this whole decluttering festival that happened, I started asking myself, especially online shopping, because I couldn't touch and feel anything. But I think after the KonMari philosophy, because she encourages you to touch and feel and, just give your hand touch to everything, I started missing that. So when so online shopping actually completely stopped for me, for that matter, because I was not able to touch the things that I wanted. So obviously I was not doing that part, and then
Wow.
suddenly, and when I even went for my shopping, I know that when I pick up something now, I ask myself very, very simply that does it spark joy, Gayatri? And I think the answer comes from within. It tells me, yes or no. And if it's no, then I very, politely and beautifully keep it back and not, struggle with myself, because I have seen in the last 4 years that actually what has not made me happy, I have not worn it. and that's for
Yeah.
a fact. Whereas
Yeah.
something that has made me happy, it may be rags, it may be I don't know what, I still wear it. So I
Right.
think that clear differentiation between what sparks joy and doesn't spark joy is so true that I'm able to apply it in any other aspect of my life as well.
That is really so interesting. Do you want to walk us through what you've just briefly covered in each of the modules that you've created?
Yeah, sure,
Yeah.
sure. I've created like 4 videos, and the first one being and trying to understand what clutter is. I think that is most important because, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of times there is confusion to understand what is the meaning of clutter. And if we don't know the meaning of clutter, we will not be able to identify in our homes that I need to, take care of it or get rid of it or whatever I need to do. Then the second video is about, of course, going through the process of decluttering. And at Joy Factory, we have developed a formula called C2S2, which is the collect, choose, scrap, store. And this was primarily because I realized that anything that has a mathematical touch or a formula to it, I think psychologically it just works better for you because suddenly you're able to apply that method in a much better manner. And that I saw while I was doing research for my formula as well. So the second video is about that formula, and that, step by step gives you an idea and how to go about the decluttering festival in your house as well. Then, of course, the third is the very important one, I feel, the tips and tricks to declutter with children. I think
Yeah.
this is something the most
I
important.
haven't. Yeah, I haven't managed to crack that one. I'm waiting to get to that module.
Yeah, I think that is most important because most of us, and I think, like you rightly said, because children in our country are not in a habit to work themselves because of house helps and maids and ayahs and etc. So a lot of time there is, confusion over there. But I genuinely feel that if you're able to train your child for any other vocation the way we train them, decluttering is also a skill or a vocation
Yeah.
that should be taught and must be taught at a younger age. So of course, so the third video is about, helping parents understand how to declutter with children. And the fourth module, the fourth video is about how to pack effectively. I think that's
Yeah.
also very important, a
Yeah, like
method.
Indians always typically travel with teen suitcase, even if we just are going to Lonavala, right? So
Absolutely.
that's like we have a change for every
Every
meal of the
hour.
day.
Yeah,
Every meal
exactly.
of the day, right? So which is quite which is again something I hope and wish that we travel very soon. But I'm
Yes.
absolutely looking forward to completing the three and then moving to the fourth. I want to ask you, Gayatri, that how does one effectively, when we see a lot of the way that she packs, she essentially puts everything in these boxes, right, which are all
Right.
open. Now we are living in homes which are full of dust, and we don't have air conditioning on all day or whatever.
Right.
So how do you help families work with storage essentially?
Actually, see, even when we are putting things like, horizontally, the way we regularly do it, then
Yeah.
also we are not, so to say, not putting anything, over it or anything like, covering it. So similarly, even for the KonMari method, like you rightly said, of course, the whole method is file folding or vertically putting your stuff. But like you said, that we have a lot of deep shelving in our wardrobes,
Right.
and like you mentioned earlier, that we don't have too many drawers. So of
Yeah.
course there are times that it's not very effective because the that pile falls and you're not able to do it, which is how, and which is why, Marie Kondo suggests that to put it in baskets and to put it in boxes. That's also because you're able to contain your storage space. A lot of time when you have things which are very spaced out, then the probability of mess is also more because everything gets like it's thrown around in different places or the corners of the shelf. So when you put together in baskets or in boxes, then the item is contained together, so the probability of mess really reduces. So but the point of actually dust and dirt is how to tackle that honestly. Like if you have decluttered and if you have organized once, trust me, then your weekly cleaning, or your weekly, or after 2 weeks maybe, cleaning, then it doesn't become like a chore or an activity.
Yeah.
Then you're
Yeah.
able to do it at a regular basis, because
Sure.
what happens is that because we have not, like I said earlier, decluttered, we have just organized our mess. It looks so overwhelming that you're like, I don't feel like doing it. But if you have already reduced the stuff that you have, then you already know how much is kept and where it is kept. Then you being able to clean it, bring it out, give it a little air and everything, put it back, it's not so difficult. And
Yeah.
you'll be able to do it, so that is something that it's easy to do then.
Yeah, I think my key takeaway is don't organize the mess, declutter
Yes.
first, right? Because the mess will need to keep getting organized, right? I think
Absolutely.
that is absolutely key for me.
Yes.
Now, I just also want to ask. Somebody asked, Indian clothes applying the KonMari method, is it possible given they are much heavier than Western clothes and we don't have a lot of hanging space?
Actually, this is very interesting, because when I went to New York and when I met Marie Kondo, I took my wedding lehenga with me, and
Amazing.
yeah, and I took it there, and so she and her team were sitting there, and I said that, all this is great for your Western stuff. What do we do about our Indian wear? So I gave my wedding lehenga to her, and imagine, Mansi, I don't know what she did. She still made it into a little rectangle, and I'm looking at her face. I said, "You have like made my thing look so tiny,"
Right.
So it's amazing that how she does it, because she was able to even fold such a huge lehenga of ours the way it is, that she made it into like a small little rectangle. But at that point I told her, it's not making me happy. It's not
Yeah.
sparking joy for me, because
Yeah, this
it
is my
has,
wedding lehenga. I've
yes, and
spent like this a bomb,
exactly.
humongous amount of money.
Absolutely. And it has embellishments, it has so much embroidery. So,
Yeah,
her
yeah,
answer was very simple. She said, Gayatri, if it's not sparking joy for you, please don't do it in this way. So
yeah,
I understood. So, the thing is that for very heavy embellishments and for very, very heavy Indian wear, this is not like the best idea, honestly
yeah,
speaking, because we have so much, things that are going on our, outfits, that to fold it in that way, it can really ruin it. So
yeah,
for that, it's best to either hang or lay them flat in your bed boxes. That's also
yeah,
like a hack that you can do. But for cotton wear, cotton suits, your saris, which are again cotton, you can definitely fold them into
yeah,
small rectangles. That's easily doable. But
yeah.
yes, for very heavy Indian wear, please, it's
Yeah.
okay if you
But I
can hang
think
it.
the key and my key takeaway there would be that you may not fold it the KonMari way, but you
Yeah,
will. The idea is even the Indian stuff that we hold, the
yeah,
Shadika stuff,
yeah.
even like, okay, you might want to keep your wedding lehenga, but your trousseau ka sari, which has come like 15 years ago, and you now the zari work is almost black, and you're
Correct.
still not ready to part with it. I think that's the key takeaway. कि अब उसको
Yes.
अगर जाना है तो उसको अभी ना, let it
निकाल
go,
दीजिए.
right?
हाँ,
निकाल दीजिए,
absolutely.
absolutely.
बिल्कुल. Yeah.
Because I think that is also very key, because I think, and I'm guilty as charged, because I've been holding on to a lot of things and I get very nostalgic with things. So
Yeah.
for me, it's really, really hard to give away things. And I feel like I keep telling myself that I'm not going to buy. And I then go on to these 1 year non-shopping spree. So I give myself
Okay.
this time that, okay, I'm not going to buy anything till like for this 1 year until I give
Right.
this, like I've
Yeah.
discarded
Yeah.
so much
Right. Right.
stuff. And the cheat hack there for me is I just, unlike you, I love online shopping, and to a point that my husband thought I should go in a rehab for it. So what I started doing is I just added everything to the cart, and
Okay.
I never build a cart.
Okay.
So I
Wow.
hope any of the e-commerce companies are not listening to this. But you know what it did? It satiated my need to shop
Right.
without shopping. So
Right.
it kind of helped, because I think women inherently, we like shopping, right? It
Correct.
just
Of course.
brings us, it's therapeutic for us.
Correct.
So it
Yeah.
served its purpose, except the credit card didn't get swiped, which I was most happy about.
I swear.
But that's yeah, that's a cheap hack if anybody
Yeah.
wants to try. If you want to first go about decluttering without shopping, I think it's a great hack. I want to ask you that in the Indian setup, what
Yeah.
are typically the resistances that you've faced? Like, are people reluctant to try the KonMari way or things like that, or they feel कि नहीं series देख ले अब हमको समझ में आ गया, or is the KonMari method, how are you going to help us? Do you ever get that?
Oh yes, of course, and more than that, I think they still ask and they wonder, आप क्या करोगे आके इसमें, हम कर सकते हैं इसमें, आपका काम क्या है, like what are you gonna do in this thing? And the best is when sometimes they call and they say that आप help करते हैं ऐसे, या तो आप इसके लिए चार्ज भी करेंगे, like you know, ask money for the things that we will take out, and I'm like, yeah, that's how it works. But I think, like, you know, that's the thing, that because people are still like, Phil, what is the purpose of you coming, you taking us, they're telling us to take out our stuff and then charging money for our stuff only.
Yeah.
Like, what is the thing over there? You know, so that is one of the challenges. And the other is, like you earlier said, that sentimental attachment. I think, oh my God, in India, because of, I think the whole, you know, joint family system, which is wonderful. I also, you know, agree to that. But I think because we have so much hand-me-downs from our ancestors, from partition days and, you know, whatnot is there, that the attachment value is so high that it is very difficult to, you know, cut through to those, you know, mindsets for these people, because they are like, nahi, ye hame zarurat hoegi, hum use karenge ek din, wo ek din aayega. But honestly, when such a thing happens, then I, you know, do tell them that someday doesn't come. And I think now, you know, I've worked for so many clients of mine, and even when they argue with me that nahi, hum use karenge, now I give them like a timeline that within 3 months, if you haven't used it, then I have to very strictly tell you that please, you know, give it away. So I think the sentimental attachment to the items in our homes is very high, very, very high. In fact, one of my clients, you know, she had a surf ka dabba. I'm like, aapne surf ka dabba rakha hua hai? She said, no, it's a very good looking dabba. I said, it's just surf. Like, what are you like going to do with it?
How can a surf ka dabba be good looking? I want to know.
Yeah, she said it's very nice. And meko bahut acha lagta hai. And obviously, after a point, you cannot say much to them. But I think, you know,
I have full empathy for you.
You know, so these are the funny kind of sometimes anecdotes that I have with my clients. It's fun because you just.
But you know, I must say, when you said this, that, you know, like I get so many gifts, and now gifting has become like this elaborate affair, right?
Yeah.
And the gift crates or the baskets or them. Now that you're mentioning the surf ka dabba, I have to say I've kept this really nice looking. You know, it's like a tripod, and uske upar they put a cane ka tray and then some boxes and all that on top. It's so pretty. I've just hoarded it because I just feel like someday I will know how to put it cutely in my house. And I'm not joking. It came to me last year when somebody's baby was born, and it's just lying up in the this thing. But it's so pretty. How do you just give away?
So, does it make you genuinely happy, Mansi? If it does, then you keep it.
I mean, I've forgotten about it, so clearly it's not making me happy. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so pretty. Like, I think I can pack something in and send this to somebody. You know, so I'm holding on. You absolutely said I'm holding on. But like a future use, which, if, when.
Absolutely. It doesn't happen. But I think, like you, a lot of people, you know, they also say that itna expensive bag hai, isko kaise de dein? Itne expensive joote hain, isko kaise de dein? You know. But I think, like I said, you know, that's why Marie Kondo has also given those 5 categories, starting with the most easy category, which is clothes, then going on to books, papers, miscellaneous items, and lastly, sentimental items, because that's how you hone your decision-making skills from something which is the easiest to make than which is sentimental items, which is most difficult to make. So I think when you hone that journey of decision-making skills from clothes to sentimental items, on your own, you will be able to see that you will be able to take a decision on something that you hadn't been able to earlier in a much faster way when you go through this whole journey. That's why it's important to go through that method in that correct order.
Right. Before we end, tell me 5 quick hacks to kind of clean up while everybody's still contained at home. And I must say, I am as guilty, because I just feel like now I want to buy for the house and not buy clothes, shoes, bags, because people need to shop, right? Yeah. Now I want to buy for the house because I feel I'm anyway spending so much time in the house. I need more for it. So like, how do you kind of, how are you helping people during this lockdown process? Because I'm sure people have contacted you like crazy in this time
Oh,
because everybody's
yes.
spending more time at home.
Absolutely. So, these workshops for me, online consultations, a lot of schools, in fact, have reached out because they want their children to learn, because every school is now
Amazing.
conducting online classes. So
Yeah, yeah,
now,
yeah.
so they are like, we just don't want academics to be shared with them. We want some interesting activities and interesting, topics. So a lot of schools from, different parts of the country have reached out saying that they'd like that I make small modules for the children so that they understand organizing and decluttering at a very young age. So I think that is one of the very interesting and important things that have happened, because otherwise children, it's like you said, they don't have and they don't understand that what is this thing that you're talking about, decluttering and organizing.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think last 4 months therefore has been very busy for me, because workshops and online consultations, meetings, they have really really gone up because everybody is home and they feel that this is now the time to, like, start cleaning up and start taking care of our things. So this is really the time that has happened.
Which is amazing, because I think everybody's focus has become on life skills. So I wouldn't be surprised if people are reaching out to you, because these are skills
Yes,
we really want our children to learn, right?
absolutely,
But
absolutely.
I'm not going to leave you without the 5 simple tips if somebody wants to start cleaning up like now.
Now, so I think first and foremost, please understand what is the meaning of declutter. I think this is something that we must understand, that declutter comes before organizing. Because if you start organizing, then trust me, you will just keep going round and round in the house, and you won't be able to come to any, like a conclusion. So first and foremost, please, declutter. Second, I would say that, like Marie Kondo also suggests, please categorize. So suppose if you want to like declutter any part of your place, I think it's important to first categorize. So even if you're like decluttering bathrooms, usme bhi please categorize everything that belongs to the bathroom from all areas of your house and put it together. Because if you don't categorize things, you won't be able to take like an informed decision. Because most happens is that we have categories of same stuff lying in different parts of the house. You must have noticed that clothes would be in
Yeah.
this room, then in the guest room, in the loft. So when you declutter, or when you start organizing, then you realize, oh, I had this here also, oh, I had it there also. So it's important that that you declutter, then you start categorizing. Then of course comes the whole very important aspect of asking yourself, does it spark joy? I think that is something that is so important, that you know it just changes the game. So it's important that one really understand this whole aspect of what sparks joy. And if one is getting stuck in understanding what sparks joy, because a lot of time my clients ask me that pata kise chalega ki spark joy kya hota hai, ye kya matlab hai, so I think at that time it's important to
Gayatri, you have to
compare.
tell me, how do you explain that spark joy in Hindi to someone?
जो दिल को खुशी दे. It's very funny, sometimes even like some of people are like कि जो खुश खुश हो जिससे, ऐसे हाँ जिससे खुशी मिलती है, like that's how it you're supposed to do it. So I think that time it's important to compare the items, because like if I tell you that Mansi, please go pick out 5 things that you love from your Almirah, you will be able to quickly go and pick up those 5 items. So I think that aspect of you choosing and collecting those 5 items differentiates the others that remain. So that concept of you deciding what 5 items you liked is actually spark joy, because you instantly knew which ones to collect and keep. Then of course, like I said, that it's important to then contain them into either boxes or baskets. That's very important, because if you don't contain them in trays, baskets or boxes, then again everything will spill over. And that is something that one should do at a very very important pace, because if you don't do it, then the probability of mess is very very high. And I
Right.
think lastly, it's important that please don't stop while you're decluttering, because all items in your house is finite. There's a number to it. It's not as if it's like infinite amount of things in your house. So I think it's important to give yourself that push every day, that I will maybe if you don't want to start at a large scale, then maybe deciding that maybe one shelf or one drawer or one thing at a time, then I will do it. Because if you don't do it, uh, it's very too easy, to fall out. And I
Right.
think one last tip which I've been sharing with everybody is in these time is to please make your own bed, because I think making your own bed really gives you that feeling of accomplishment first thing in the morning. And
I
when you
agree.
see a clean bed, it gives you a thing that you want to move forward. So I think making your bed for me, I think, is the starting point for starting to declutter in the house.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've actually got a question where somebody asked on beauty, like how do you organize your beauty cabinets and lipsticks and cosmetics and stuff? So, any tips there?
I think first and foremost, please get rid of the expired beauty stuff. A lot of times we have so much of expired, beauty
Yeah.
products that we keep hoarding. So I think first and foremost is to get rid, which is actually your decluttering, the point of declutter, that please, remove. Then I think it's important to organize these. Muji has very interesting, glass containers and
Yeah.
with small little drawers. So I think the more you keep things in see-through or transparent drawers or boxes, the more you will be able to use them. Because the problem happens with clutter is that because it gets hidden into your shelves or drawers, a lot of time you don't see it, and when you don't see your things, you don't use it, and that's why you forget it. So it's
Right.
important to store your stuff in things which are visible to you. And like I said earlier, please categorize. So categorize all the lipsticks together or all the nail polishes together. So basically putting things of the same kind and same group together, because then it will be easy for you to instantly know which is and what is kept where.
Somebody's asked a question on toys, and I'm going to say, butt in there and say that Gayatri's done a 4-part module on Kid Stop Press. The
Yes.
first one, guys, she's broken down decluttering and organizing in 4 separate videos. The first one is on understanding decluttering and organizing. The second one is C2S2 method. The third one is on kids and how do you declutter their stuff. And of course, the fourth one is how to pack more efficiently. So for everybody watching, please head over and get those detailed videos, because that will really, really help you in going back, referring to it again and again, and kind of working on it, because it's not something, there's no quick hack to it, right? You have to
Correct.
literally learn it from her, which I think is very, very important. Gayatri, thank you so
Thank
much. It's been incredible chatting with you, and I'm just so inspired by your journey.
you. Thank you so much, Mansi. I've had a
Thank you
great
so
time too.
much.
Thanks. All
Bye.
right.
See you.
Bye.